We do start our show, though, with unfortunate news out of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark announced today that she will miss both the three-point contest and the WNBA All-Star Game this upcoming weekend in Indiana after re-aggravating a groin injury in that final minute of Tuesday's win over the Connecticut Sun. Clark had missed 4 games and the Commissioner's Cup final with that groin injury earlier this month, and now will be out for this weekend's festivities, which really stinks for fans, but you know that if there was any way that she could be out there.
One injury, one superstar, one broken league. Caitlin Clark was supposed to be the future, the golden ticket, the headline act, the heartbeat of a sport finally finding its rhythm. But in the span of a few days, everything fell apart. She limped off the court in silence, holding more than just her leg. She was holding the weight of an entire league on the brink. Fans were stunned. Executives went quiet. And the WNBA's most anticipated weekend suddenly felt hollow. But the worst part? It wasn't the injury. It was how the league let it happen. This isn't just a sports story, it's a warning. A breakdown in leadership, a systemic failure, and a billion-dollar dream now hanging by a thread. Let's break down how everything unraveled, and why Caitlin's injury might be the beginning of something much bigger. It was supposed to be a celebration. The All-Star Weekend in Indiana, the hometown of Caitlin Clark's new chapter. Billboards plastered across downtown, fans flying in from all corners, merch flying off shelves. But as Tuesday night's game against the Connecticut Sun ticked into its final minute, everything changed. Clark, who had just started finding her stride after battling through a previous groin issue, suddenly stopped. She grimaced, grabbed her leg. The arena fell quiet. No hard foul, no collision. Just a silent collapse that sent waves across the basketball world. Hours later, the news hit. Clark would not compete in the three-point contest. She was pulling out of the All-Star game. For a player who hadn't missed a single college game, this wasn't just a setback, it was a red flag. And the most painful part? It wasn't unexpected, because Caitlin Clark hadn't just been injured. She had been overexposed, underprotected, and quietly worn down by a league that knew exactly what was at stake, and failed her anyway.
I'll leave the specific question about the foul to my colleague, Commissioner Engelbert. I mean, other than as a fan, obviously, you know, it's nothing new in basketball that there's sort of welcome to the league moments, especially for heralded rookies. But of course, I want to see Caitlin treated fairly.
While fans flooded Twitter with heartbreak and confusion, one voice stood out, and it didn't come from the WNBA. It came from NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Without naming names, he made his message loud and clear. I want to see Caitlin treated fairly. But in commissioner language, that wasn't a suggestion. It was a warning. Behind the scenes, the NBA has been watching closely, monitoring how the WNBA handles its newfound stardom. And when Silver breaks the diplomatic script to publicly express concern, that's not casual, that's strategic, especially with collective bargaining agreement negotiations unraveling behind closed doors. If the WNBA fumbles this moment, if it loses its brightest star to burnout, mismanagement, or worse, the ripple effects won't just be financial, they'll be existential. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie, she's the entire trajectory of the league. And if Silver is speaking up now, it means patience is running out.
I think that you guys as an organization are doing, I mean, I know you're speaking out at this point, but anything more that you are doing or you hope to do to engage in the league and addressing these issues with the officiating that you've been very vocal with?
Yeah, I mean, I think every year when we have our league meetings in the fall and in the spring, we say the same thing over and over and over. And nothing has changed.
You'd expect the commissioner of the WNBA to lead the charge in protecting its biggest draw. But instead, Cathy Engelbert has become a master of saying nothing when it matters most. When asked about Caitlin, she pivots to talking about Angel Reese. When pressed on officiating, she offers vague shrugs and polished PR lines. After Marina Mabre shoved Clark to the ground in an earlier game, during a dead ball no less, Engelbert didn't condemn it, didn't address it, didn't even name it. And that silence speaks volumes. Sports journalists like Christine Brennan have noticed it too, calling Engelbert out for her bizarre inability to mention Caitlin without dragging other names into the sentence. This isn't about favoritism, it's about leadership. The league finally has a generational star who's moving ratings, tickets, and culture, and its commissioner seems more interested in playing neutral than playing protector. And when leadership deflects instead of defends, the damage starts at the top.
Be out there, she would be. Shortly before the show, Clark released this statement through the Fever's social media account saying that she's so excited for Indiana to host WNBA All-Star this weekend, and that she says she knows that this is going to be the best All-Star yet. But she does go on to say how incredibly sad and, quote, disappointed she will not be able to participate, adding, quote, "I have to rest my body. I'll still be at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for all of the action. I'm looking forward to helping Sandy coach our team."
For weeks, Caitlin Clark had been the engine driving the WNBA's television boom. Every time she played, ratings exploded. National TV broadcasts featuring her soared past 1 million viewers. ESPN was breaking WNBA records. ION was doubling its numbers. It wasn't just hype, it was a verified phenomenon. But the moment Clark was sidelined, the numbers dropped like a rock. Viewership plummeted by 53%. The Fever's games lost nearly 1 million viewers overnight. Betting markets shrank. Ad revenue took a hit. In the cold world of business, that kind of drop means one thing: instability. And yet, from the league office, silence. No emergency meetings, no visible action, just more social posts pretending everything's fine. But when your entire financial forecast is built on one athlete and you let that athlete fall, literally and figuratively, the crash isn't just a possibility, it's inevitable. The signs were there from the start. Game after game, fans watched Clark get shoved, grabbed, body-checked, and bumped, often without a single whistle. Even legendary WNBA figure Rebecca Lobo called out the refs on live television, saying, "That's a foul," multiple times as Clark was visibly hit. Coaches noticed, analysts noticed, fans noticed, and yet officials didn't. Or worse, they did, and let it go. This wasn't just rough play, it was negligence. And the numbers back it up. 141 injuries across a 179-player league with just 44 games played per team. That's not coincidence, that's a crisis. The WNBA's physicality isn't the problem. It's the refusal to police it that's turning highlight reels into injury montages. And Clark, as the league's most visible target, has taken the brunt of it. It's one thing when journalists criticize officiating. It's another when players do it. But when family steps in, that's a new level of alarm. Caitlin's brother Colin took to social media, placing direct blame on the referees for her injury. He didn't hold back, and honestly, he didn't need to. The footage was clear. A string of missed calls, escalated physicality, and zero intervention. And the moment Caitlin went down, the silence from the league became deafening. Even the fans began organizing, petitions, threads, video compilations, all demanding accountability. But the WNBA didn't respond with reforms or apologies. It responded with spin, and in doing so, it made one thing clear. It wasn't just failing Caitlin, it was failing everyone watching. Tuesday's matchup against the Connecticut Sun wasn't just another physical battle, it was chaos wrapped in whistles. 5 technical fouls, 3 ejections, 2 flagrant calls, and still, the officials struggled to maintain control. It was the same pattern we've seen all season: games turning into wrestling matches, players sent flying, and stars walking off limping. Coach Stephanie White had had enough. In a post-game interview, she unloaded, "Everyone's getting better, except the officials." Her tone wasn't frustrated, it was exhausted. This wasn't just a coach venting after a loss. It was a leader publicly admitting the system is broken. And when every coach says the same thing every year and nothing changes, that's not a bug in the system, it's the system itself. You don't need a finance degree to understand what Caitlin Clark means to the WNBA's bottom line. She's not just a player, she's a brand, a movement, a living advertisement. Since her debut, the league has seen a 170% spike in ESPN viewership. ION's ratings jumped by 133%. Merchandise sales skyrocketed. Ticket demand soared. Even sports betting markets started tracking Fever games more than any other team. And yet, all of that growth sits on one fragile foundation: Caitlin's availability. Take her out, even temporarily, and the entire ecosystem trembles. You could see it instantly. Viewership dropped, betting dipped, sponsorship interest wavered. And now, with the league projected to cross $1 billion in revenue, her injury couldn't have come at a worse time. Because when one athlete holds up the house, even a small crack can bring the whole thing down. It's not just about missed calls, it's about a broken structure. WNBA. Officials aren't salaried, they're paid per game. Many split their time with NCAA tournaments. That means no full-time accountability. no long-term development, no real incentive to master the craft. And the result? Inconsistent calls, chaotic management, and star players like Caitlin taking the hits, physically and professionally. Every injury she's suffered this season traces back to the same issue: lack of protection. From her left quad strain to her groin re-aggravation, the pattern is clear. It's not just wear and tear, it's mechanical breakdown caused by constant collisions. And while the league celebrates her with banners and all-star billboards, the on-court reality tells a different story. She's being left to survive a system that doesn't prioritize her health. As if things weren't tense enough, the WNBA is now staring down a possible work stoppage. The current collective bargaining agreement is set to expire on October 31, 2025. And with tensions boiling over, Caitlin's injury has added fuel to the fire. Players want more money, better protection, and a piece of the growing revenue. But how do you negotiate a better future when your brightest star is getting injured under your current one? It's a contradiction that highlights the entire problem. The league wants to grow but hasn't built the foundation to sustain it. Caitlin Clark represents progress, money, and global attention. But if the system around her can't keep up, or worse, breaks her, then the negotiations won't just stall. They'll explode. Caitlin Clark didn't come into the WNBA as a maybe. She came in with the receipts. The most watched player in women's college basketball history, the face of Iowa's record-shattering run, a player whose college games drew more eyes than NBA playoff matches. She wasn't just ready for the spotlight, she was the spotlight. And yet, just months into her rookie year, she's already sitting out multiple games with mounting injuries. First it was the left quad, then the groin. Now it's a re-aggravation, just days before the biggest promotional weekend of the year. For someone who never missed a game in college, it raises the uncomfortable question, is it really her body breaking down, or is it the system breaking her? Because a star like Clark doesn't just fall apart overnight. It takes weeks of wear, unchecked contact, and a total absence of protection. And that's not an accident, that's a failure. Imagine this. You plan a birthday party, send out the invites, blow up the balloons, but forget to invite the guest of honor. That's exactly what the WNBA just did, except they didn't forget. They just didn't protect her. The 2025 All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis was practically branded around Caitlin Clark. Her face was everywhere. Airport banners, hotel murals, jumbotrons, digital ads. Fans bought tickets because of her. Sponsors signed checks because of her. And now, she's benched, watching from the sideline, coaching instead of competing. The league's most visible and profitable figure was reduced to a glorified spectator, not because she wanted to rest, but because she had to. That's not just a marketing failure. That's a league failing to protect its investment, its image, and its integrity. And for fans who traveled miles and spent money to see her, it felt like betrayal. Here's a stat that should make any executive nervous. Of the top 15 most watched WNBA games in 2024, 12 featured the Indiana Fever. And of those, every single one included Caitlin Clark. The Fever aren't dominating the standings. They're not a super team. They don't have a legacy dynasty, but they have Clark. And that's all that matters, because every time she steps on the court, the numbers follow. ESPN sees it, Ion sees it, Vegas betting lines see it. The entire WNBA economy has quietly become Caitlin Clark dependent. And yet, despite all this data, she's still the one absorbing the hits. She's still the one playing through pain. She's still the one sitting out the All-Star game while the league pretends everything's fine. That's the problem. The WNBA is reaping the rewards without reinforcing the foundation. And when you build a skyscraper on one shaky column, the collapse isn't a surprise. It's inevitable. Every league has bad calls. It's part of the game. But what's happening in the WNBA isn't just bad luck, it's a pattern. Missed whistles, inconsistent enforcement, games that devolve into brawls. And in every one of those games, guess who's at the center? Caitlin Clark. She gets held off ball. She gets clipped on drives. She gets shoved after the play. And when it happens, crickets from the refs. No foul, no review, no accountability. It's gotten so bad that players, coaches, and commentators have all said the same thing. This isn't just rough play, it's dangerous. And worse, it's allowed. One moment, Clark is body-checked under the rim. The next, she's on the floor grabbing her leg. But unless the league addresses the officiating issue directly, hires full-time refs, raises standards, and punishes negligence, nothing will change. And more players will fall. The question is, how many stars does the league need to lose before someone listens? Leadership isn't about press releases. It's about presence. It's about action. And right now, Cathy Engelbert feels missing in action. She wasn't courtside when the incident happened. She didn't release a statement after Clark's injury. She didn't even name-check Clark when asked about her absence. For fans, that silence feels disrespectful. For players, it feels like abandonment. And for the business side of the league, it's a PR disaster. When Christine Brennan, one of the most respected sports voices in the country, publicly questions Engelbert's leadership, that's not petty criticism. That's a flashing red light. Because this commissioner isn't just failing to protect players, she's failing to even acknowledge the ones carrying the league. And in an era where transparency and accountability matter more than ever, Engelbert's vague answers and half-hearted responses are starting to wear thin. This isn't just a sports story, it's a business story. And right now, the math doesn't lie. The WNBA is expected to cross $1 billion in revenue in the next few years, a projection fueled almost entirely by Caitlin Clark's presence. Her debut season has turned casual fans into diehards. She's driven merch sales, ticket booms, and a complete media shift. Sponsors who once saw the WNBA as niche are now treating it like prime real estate. But that only works if Clark is healthy. If she's active, if she's visible. Her injury didn't just sideline a player, it stalled momentum. And every game she misses is a missed opportunity. Lost ads, shrinking engagement, fewer headlines. The longer she sits, the louder the question becomes, can the WNBA afford another Caitlin-less week? And if they can't, why didn't they do more to prevent this? Sometimes it takes the fans to say what the league won't. After Clark's injury and the officiating controversies that followed, supporters launched online petitions demanding change. Thousands of signatures, comments detailing game-by-game breakdowns of missed calls and dangerous play, clips going viral, hashtags trending, and through it all, no official acknowledgement from the league office. That silence didn't just frustrate people, it radicalized them. Because when viewers feel ignored, they don't disengage quietly, they push back loudly. The grassroots movement around Caitlin Clark's safety isn't just a flash in the pan. It's a signal that fans are done watching stars get hurt while leadership stays silent. And if the WNBA doesn't adapt to that reality, it risks alienating the very audience that Clark brought in. The WNBA has dreams. More teams, global expansion, primetime slots, higher salaries. And they're within reach, but only if the core stays strong. And right now, that core is unstable. Too many games feel like battlegrounds. Too many stars are getting hurt. Too many decisions are being made with short-term optics instead of long-term protection. You can't chase a billion-dollar future with a part-time officiating crew and players dropping like flies. Caitlin Clark exposed both the ceiling and the cracks of the league. She showed the world what's possible, and what happens when the people in charge don't adapt. If the WNBA wants to build something lasting, it needs to stop reacting and start rebuilding. From the floor up, here's the uncomfortable truth. If things don't change, Caitlin Clark won't run out of options. She'll have offers from overseas, Europe, Asia, Australia, leagues that will pay her millions, prioritize her safety, and roll out red carpets just to get a piece of her spotlight. It wouldn't be the first time a WNBA star looked elsewhere, but it would be the loudest signal yet. Imagine the headlines. Caitlin Clark leaves WNBA for international deal. It would be a PR disaster, a financial gut punch, and a wake-up call that comes far too late. The league has her now, but if it keeps treating her like just another rookie instead of the phenomenon she is, someone else will take her in. And the WNBA will be left wondering what could have been. It didn't have to get here. The injury, the outrage, the collapsing ratings, the petitions, the backlash. All of it could have been avoided with three basic things: stronger officiating, better leadership, and a real commitment to player safety. Caitlin Clark didn't need special treatment. She just needed fair treatment. She needed protection when fouls got reckless. She needed statements when the games got dangerous, and she needed the commissioner's support when she limped off the court. Instead, she got silence, deflection, and now a front-row seat to the All-Star game she was supposed to headline. The worst part? The league still has time to fix this, to change the rules, invest in full-time refs, prioritize recovery, but only if they act now, before the next star goes down and before fans decide they've seen enough. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. This is about every young girl who dreams of turning pro, every fan who bought a ticket, every viewer who believed the WNBA was finally ready to take that next step. For a moment, it looked like the league had everything it needed: the star, the momentum, the audience. But that moment is slipping. Not because of the talent, not because of the fans, but because the people in charge refused to protect the one player holding the entire operation together. Caitlin Clark wasn't asking for special treatment, she was asking for fairness, for safety, for standards, and instead, she got sidelined while the league smiled through billboards bearing her name. The commissioner stayed silent, the officials stayed inconsistent, and the fans? They started asking themselves if the league even deserves the spotlight it's been given. There's still time to turn this around, but the window is closing fast. The WNBA can either face the truth, fix the system, and protect its stars, or watch the very foundation it's built on crumble in real time. Because if Caitlin Clark walks, whether due to injury, frustration, or better opportunities, she won't be the only one leaving. Sponsors will walk, viewers will walk, fans will walk, and the league might not recover. If you believe the WNBA needs to do better, not just for Caitlin, but for every player, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more deep dives into the truth behind the headlines. Let's keep this conversation going in the comments. Do you think the league can recover from this?